And on set with us, thanks, Rick. It's a pleasure to have you here. We have Matt Potter. He's the author of Outlaws, Inc., Under the Radar and on the Black Market with the World's Most Dangerous Smugglers. Very fascinating book.
Well, thank you.
How did you come up with the idea to write it? How long did it take you to do it? And what was the experience like?
So I ended up being in the right place, or the wrong place at the wrong time. I was in the Soviet Union the day it collapsed. And there were just some strange scenes going on around me, like you'd be in a restaurant and suddenly, out of nowhere, the head waiter would snatch up all the knives and forks and bolt for the door. And the same would happen with the army. There would be soldiers walking down the street and suddenly they would make a run for it with all their weapons. And I just thought, this is unusual. What will happen in a place as large and as powerful and as broke as this? So I kept my eye on it and ended up being a foreign correspondent working in Serbia under Milosevic.
Yeah.
I didn't work under Milosevic, but
when he was in America,
when he was there, and seeing things, a very, very similar place, totally bust, lots of narcotics all around the place, lots of fur, lots of weapons, and this was a place that was completely under embargo, so you shouldn't have been able to get anything. And I finally saw that there were these phantom planes coming and going in and out with kind of mercenary airmen who used to be in the Soviet, they were the Red Army airmen, who had just, one day when the Soviet Union went bust, they decided to go freelance, and now they are effectively, like on any main street, you get man with van, anything legal considered. They'd taken their bombers, resprayed them, and painted a little phone number on the side, and they're available for hire. And today they work for the UN. When we got to get some flood relief into Pakistan or something into Haiti, they're the only guys who can do it. They're like the A-team, but they make their cash jobs on the side, taking weapons in at the same time.
Unbelievable.
Opium out, whatever you got.
Okay, so you're saying that they fly contraband for basically anybody, anyone. You just go and you work out this deal with them. Yeah,
I mean, effectively, you will. They are the only guys who've got the plane that can land anywhere. They got the skills to pay the bills, but that with this
skills to pay the bills, you know, you like that. I mean, except when it's illegal, but yeah.
But hey, I mean, in a way, it does explain what they're doing. They are, in any normal lifetime, they would have been the kind of blue collar guys that Bruce Springsteen sings about. The fact is that they just happen to be kicked out of the world's most powerful army with the world's biggest weapons stockpile, at a time when the whole country was bust and they were bust.
So let me ask you something. How come the good guys, right, with the UN, et cetera, hire these guys without any kind of hesitation and say, hey, we got you? You
wouldn't be the first person to ask that. The fact is, if you stop the sinner, the saint stops as well. So these guys really are the only people who can fly into some of the world's most dangerous places. They're the only ones who... I spoke to one guy. These chaps deliver ransoms to Somali pirates. Now, the guy who phones them up and asks them to do this, I've asked the legit airlines to do it, I've asked Brits, I've asked Americans, I've asked Australians to do it, and they start talking to me about health and safety laws and danger money. And he said, these guys, they don't do any of that. You know, they're ex-Soviet army, they get the order. Certainly, they carry it out. They go.
Unbelievable. Okay, but now, you know, we've read a lot about the Russian mafia. Is there any kind of connection to organized crime with these individuals?
Yes.
I imagine organized crime would want to hire them too.
In the sense that there's a connection to all sorts of worlds. But the fact is that these guys, they're not controlled by a Mr. Big. They're not controlled by anybody, really. They are effectively, they're kind of disorganised crime, if you like. So they are the foot soldiers, and they'll do anything that it takes, and that means that they will take good orders and bad. And you talk to them about it, and you say, "Why are you doing this?"
Yeah.
And they're not going to say, "Well, because I have a dream to control the crime market." They'll just say, "Well, we take a job. We're like taxi drivers."
So yeah, they go where the demand is.
Right.
Now, did you ever feel in danger or, you know, threats on your life or unsafe when you were covering this? Because it's Outlaws, Inc. I mean, look at the cover of this book. It's like scary already. Under the radar and on the black market with the world's most dangerous smugglers.
I mean, you get threats, but I think the most dangerous thing was the fact that when you're flying with them in their old bombers and they're all drunk. You know, you're being shot at by the Taliban, and you turn to the navigator and say, what are we going to do now? And he turns back to you and tells you, well, we're going to land, and you notice he stinks of vodka. And at that point, you do realise that maybe you've taken on a story that might be the end of you.
All right. Well, look, but you're a fascinating individual. You've got a lot of life experiences. I'm glad you wrote about this. I mean, you're a journalist, you're an editor, broadcaster. You've reported for BBC Radio from Eastern Europe, Afghanistan, Southeast Asia. You co-present your award-winning global travel shows, and you've written for everybody, it seems like. Daily Telegraph, Golf Monthly, even. I bet that's pretty racy for Golf Monthly.
That was playing golf on a minefield in Afghanistan.
Oh, so even the golf is dangerous. I love this. The back nine is potentially explosive. Sunday Telegraph, Jack, Maxim, and the Irish Examiner. And you did a special on cocaine trafficking, right?
That's right,
in Latin America.
Yeah, which is also these
Unbelievable.
guys.
All right,
They get
fantastic. Well, we can get your book on Amazon.com,
You
everywhere,
certainly
Barnes
can.
& Noble, all the
Absolutely.
above.
Or from me direct if you fancy it.
Okay, where are you directly on what website?
Yeah, mattpotterbooks.com.
Perfect. Well, Matt, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for being on
Pleasure
the
to be here.
program. Outlaws Inc. I like it. Sounds like a movie to me.
Me too.
Yeah, don't you think?